Welcome to another Watch with Ray, with me, Ray. This is an offshoot of the Chick Lit Book Club podcast. You like how I did that? I've been having trouble pronouncing it and enunciating my words. And this series I've been watching Miss Scarlet and the Duke, and I'm actually done with the series, but we're talking about the second episode today. And the name of that is, I should have looked it up beforehand, and I didn't. 6 Feet Under. It is, I will say, I really enjoyed this episode, especially after the last episode, which is kind of like, I was kind of meh with the mystery. This one, the mystery's, I think, decent. It's like, it was one of those ones where it was like, oh, it had a little bit of a surprise ending. And I'm sorry, I'm very, like, it's warm. It's warm, it's unnaturally warm, not unnaturally, it's unseasonably warm here in Ohio. But also, like, in my basement, it's unseasonably warm. So, you get to see all of me today. Lucky you. So, a little bit about the plot. I am not going to spoil the, there's one thing I have to spoil because it leads, this is a cliffhanger episode, so I will have to talk a little bit about the ending, but I'm not going to spoil the mystery at all. So, one big thing, like I mentioned last time, I believe, was that Scotland Yard is like, just, you know, they don't have enough, policemen, and crime is on the uptick. So they're overrun right now, and there's no, like, there's too much work. And so, William, the Duke, is very, let's say, like, stressed out. And they drop this little, this little tidbit here. At first I was like, okay, something's gonna happen with this. So this is something I'm gonna tell you this little bit, and you have to put it in your pocket and keep it there for a little bit, because it doesn't come to fruition for a couple episodes, okay? So, Oliver Fitzroy, one of my favorite characters, in the midst of all of this chaos, asks the Duke, there's a position that has come open with the New York City Police Department. They want somebody from Scotland Yard to kind of be like an intern, not an intern, but like kind of be consulting with them, so that they can learn how we're breaking cases and how, investigating cases, and then we can just, learn how they, see what differences, maybe there's some new technologies, blah, 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 blah. Oliver wants to do that. And William's like, I will support you, but maybe not right now in the middle of the hallway. Do you ask me these questions? I mean, let's just be honest. How many of us in our jobs have had these hallway conversations and deliberations where you're like, this is not the place nor the time for me to discuss this with you. So, no thank you. That's horrible. No thank you. So anyhow, Oliver's pretty like, oh, okay, cool. Like, but, at the same time, work. Because Fitzroy is just an adorable human being. Like, his character is like he's the epitome of like a golden retriever, but good at his job, like very good at being, he's on his way to being a really good detective, but he's just adorable. The actor who's playing him is fantastic. Anywho, so, at the same time, Barnabas, what is his last name? What is, Potts, Mr. Potts, duh, who is dating Ivy, and if you don't know, Ivy is Eliza's, she's supposed to be the housekeeper, but, like, she's been with the Scarlets since, like, before, Mrs. Scarlet passed away, so she's kind of been, like, the, like a mom to her, like her mother figure. And you will definitely see that in the next episode. But she and Barnabas have been dating, and they're engaged, I believe. And so Barnabas has been encouraged to come see Miss Scarlet because the murder that happens, because there's a murder in every episode, and the murder that happens takes place at this funeral parlor, and it's Theobald Turner. He's found dead, and pretty much Scotland Yard doesn't really care about the case very much. So Barnabas goes to Eliza, and he's like, can you, I know there's foul play. Can you come and, I will hire you for this. And she's in dire straits financially, so she's like, of course. But at the same time, she's like, oh God, no. Because he's a fuddy-duddy. He's a little fastidious. But again, we've all known those people too. So anyhow, she goes to the Turners' funeral parlor to look at the crime scene, and as she's investigating, I cannot remember. It's Detective Black, but I'm trying to remember the other gentleman, the other guy who plays the lead detective under William. He's such a crotchety bastard, and I can't think of his name right now. But he's determined to to shut Eliza out. And Eliza ends up pretty much taking over the case, and William ends up helping her at some point. Helping each other, I should say. So there's something that happens with there's questions about Turner his funeral home was being bought up by I cannot remember the name of the other funeral parlor. Hardcastle. Hardcastle's funeral, they own a whole bunch of them. So imagine it's Wegmans coming in and trying to buy up this little mom and pop grocery store. So sort of that same thing. And supposedly Hardcastle at times has resorted to using thugs to pretty much pressure people into selling or doing what they need them to do. Well, that's what we're thinking has happened, is that Hardcastle has maybe got someone to knock off Mr. Turner, because then they could possibly buy the business off of whoever the new owner is, which happens to be Mr. Turner's sister. And so, come to find out, she does want to sell it to him. And there's, a little back and forth with, there's some things we find out about Miss Turner's relationships in the past, and her relationship to Hardcastle, because there is one. That's all I'm going to say about that one, because I really like the mystery, so I don't want to spoil. The other thing that's kind of interesting in this episode is, if you all remember in the past, Eliza and Will have a monthly dinner. And let's just say they're not having those monthlies. They're only having those at least once a week. I mean, it's intimated. Well, she asks if they could have dinner. And it's kind of intimated by the end that they're going to dinner more frequently. So again, Eliza's playing into this. I think she's trying to make herself comfortable with the thought of being with William. Because it's no, Joy, you both love each other. Come the fuck on, Bridget. So we're getting a little bit more, because there's even a part where she comes to see Will, and Will's like, I don't have time for you right now, so whatever you have, on your plate, I cannot listen right now. She's like, oh, I thought you maybe would want to come with me when I go interrogate the very angry and possible bad man who might hurt me. And he's like, damn it. And so so we don't have we get a little bit of we need those touches in there, because by the end of the episode, and here's where I have to spoil it for you guys, there, like I said, the Scotland Yard is there is a very small number of police. They're stretched thin. And there is this, throughout the whole, excuse me, I don't think it's a forgery ring. I'm trying to remember what kind. It's it's a nefarious ring of bad people. And they thought they'd have reinforcements, not so much. And so yeah, I'm still not getting with the, but neither here nor there. So they get to, like, they're gonna go out, like, they're gonna ambush, they're gonna, pretty much, knock in the door, and they think they're gonna have reinforcements at all different angles to be able to all go in at one time, because they know that these people are, like, armed to the T. And, yeah, the reinforcements just can't, because they are stretched too thin in other parts of the city. So they run in, and we last see Eliza, like, getting ready for the day, and, like, walking out, and Fitzroy coming to her, blanket, like looking like he just woke up, or he just got out of the hospital, and he comes to her, and he says, "Miss Eliza, I need to tell you, and that William's been shot, and they don't think he's going to make it." And so you just see Fitzroy with just covered in blood. So she runs to Will's side, and that's pretty much where the episode ends, is him in a coma, or him at least hanging on to life. So pretty good episode. It was very much like, oh, fuck, I knew as soon as they're like, there's no reinforcements, I'm like, bitch is gonna fucking get shot, isn't he? And guess he did. So I would say for this episode, I would give it probably, I'm going to give this one an A-. I thought it was very good. And again, it sets up for, like, the rest of the season. And it definitely sets up the next episode, which, again, I've seen it. It's really good. It's very good. Let's just say we're going back in time. We're going back in time. Yeah. It's real good. Real good. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an A-. I thought the mystery was good, because there's a big old twist that I was like, oh, I did not see that coming. Yeah, so that's what I mean, honestly, this season's been shaping up to be pretty good. I'm interested to see if it gets renewed. Because I think there was, like, a push, because it was not going to get renewed for this season. So y'all need to be watching this. Please watch this, so that way we can, because I, again, have watched ahead, and I need to know what happens. So, if that's not enough of a teaser. So yeah, that's my episode for this week. If you don't follow us, please like and subscribe. We have a podcast, again, like I mentioned, this is an offshoot of that podcast. It is the Chick Lit Book Club podcast, and you can find it on Spotify, Stitcher's no longer, Purple Apple icon, literally wherever we're on Audible, like, we can find us everywhere. I'm sorry, Amazon Music, I think. Yeah, well, that's how you get through the Audible. Yeah, I mean, we used to have our episodes on YouTube, but takes a lot of work to get the sound, and I don't have time for that. So, we just released an episode on Done and Dusted, and we have a couple new releases by some, like, pretty well-known authors coming up. So we're very excited. We have some interviews coming up too, which we are very excited. And some of those will be on here, the interviews themselves, some will be here, and also on our Patreon, which we do have a Patreon. Yeah, so you can find us a whole bunch of different places. Again, it'll be linked in the bio. But yeah, just stay tuned, and we'll look forward to episode 3. Happy reading.